Hello everyone and welcome back to Huddle Breakdown. A little channel update before we start today's episode. We're going to change the upload schedule. We're going up to 4 videos a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. 4 videos a week. We're excited to change to that. We'll get right into the highlights of Week 3. This was a big play. It's a run on 4th and inches to Raquel Armstead, and somehow he gets loose. A touchdown there. It was a big game-changing moment. If we had a punt again there in the first quarter, the game might have had a different outcome. Here is a punt by Matt Hack, and it's a tremendous job by him. It forced us to not do anything offensively, and the Dolphins actually get points off of this. They get 3 points to end the half. Now we'll go to the fourth quarter. This is a throw left. I'm looking for Chenault. He's the ex-receiver. But there you see Aqib Talib. He's not in the coverage. It's a zone coverage. He breaks off, and he makes a great play on the football. I just didn't see him. I thought it was man, and that is going to be an easy turnover there for Aqib Talib. Here's the next play in the fourth quarter. This was a great job by our defense to get a stop and force a field goal in the red zone. Here, unfortunately, is another turnover. Now, this one, I don't really understand. Maybe the throw could be a little better there where we marked, but Tyler Eifert just doesn't even go for the football. I don't understand why he doesn't, and that ball should have, at the very least, not been intercepted. Here's an interception by Tua. It was just a little behind him, and the user play there by Miles Jack in coverage. And this was the glitch before the end of the game, which was weird. I don't know. I've never encountered it. It didn't let me call a timeout here when we got to this graphic. I wanted to call it at 5. And so the clock runs out. But luckily, in overtime, we marched right down the field. And here is the overtime touchdown to Laviska Shenault. A great job there getting the ball over the pylon for the touchdown. And luckily, that glitch didn't cost us a game. We'll now take a look at some scores and go across the NFL. And we will start in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Of course, the home to the Jets and the Giants. But here, it's the Giants losing at home 44-38 to the San Francisco 49ers. 4 touchdowns on the day for both quarterbacks. Deebo Samuel, 11 for 152 and 2 touchdowns. And the 49ers score a walk-off touchdown in overtime to get the 44-38 win. Now to Pittsburgh, where the Steelers win 24-17 on top of the Houston Texans. Big Ben, 2 touchdowns and interception. Watson had a touchdown of his own. And in the battle of the Watt brothers, both JJ and TJ get a sack, but ultimately the Steelers will move to 3-0, 24-17. The Cincinnati Bengals are now 3-0 on the season, 21-16. They defeat the Philadelphia Eagles. A touchdown for Joe Burrow, 2 touchdowns for Carson Wentz. Jalen Reagor of the Eagles had 94 yards on 5 catches. And the Bengals hold off a late fourth quarter rally by the Philadelphia Eagles and are able to get win number 3 on the season. Now to New England, where the Patriots defeat the Oakland Raiders 34-28 in overtime. Cam, 271, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 2 touchdowns as well for Derek Carr. Henry Ruggs, the rookie wide receiver, 8 for 58 and a touchdown. But the Patriots ultimately win in overtime in a walk-off touchdown to keep the Raiders winless on the season. Now to the NFC North, where the Minnesota Vikings defeat the Tennessee Titans 24-3. Kirk Cousins, 2 touchdowns on the day, no interceptions. The rookie Justin Jefferson, 4 for 90, filling in nicely for Stephon Diggs. And 24 unanswered points by the Minnesota Vikings after the Titans scored 3 points early, and the Vikings will cruise to 2-1. Now to Cleveland, where the Browns squeak out a win against Washington 28-21. Haskins, 1 touchdown on the day. Baker Mayfield, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Kendall Fuller, the cornerback for Washington, 7 tackles, those 3 interceptions of Baker Mayfield. But the Browns are able to hold off Washington. The Rams lose their first game of the season, and they don't even score a single point. The Bills win 14-0. Goff, 2 interceptions on the day. Josh Allen, 1 touchdown. Tyler Kroft, 5 for 57 and a touchdown. Tyler Higbee, 6 for 48, but ultimately the Rams, a bad showing in their first loss of the season, and the Bills now go to 3-0 with the 14-0 win. In Atlanta, where the Bears get their first win on the season, 27-20. Trubisky, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Both those touchdowns were thrown to Allen Robinson, who also had 57 yards on the day. Ryan Tannehill, 2 touchdowns of his own, but a 10-point fourth quarter comeback not enough for the Falcons, as the Bears will win. Out in Los Angeles, where the Chargers lose 21-14 to the Carolina Panthers. Teddy Bridgewater, 2 touchdowns. Christian McCaffrey, 17 for 65 with a rushing touchdown. Herbert played good again, but did have an interception. His touchdown was to Taylor Gabriel. Joel Bosa with 2 sacks, but not enough, as the Carolina Panthers win 21-14. Out of Indianapolis, where the Colts keep the Jets winless on the season. 2 touchdowns for Sam Darnold. Le'Veon Bell, 20 carries, 106 yards, 2 touchdowns, not enough, as Rivers throws for 4 touchdowns. Zach Pascal, 12 catches, 214 yards and a touchdown. The Colts score 14 points in the fourth quarter to keep the Colts up on top of the New York Jets. Arizona, where Kerryon Johnson had a monster game for the Detroit Lions, but it wasn't enough. Arizona wins 24-20. Kerryon Johnson, 14 carries, 68 yards, a touchdown. He also had 2 catches for 86 yards and a touchdown. But like we said, not enough for them to get the win. They lose by 4 points to Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals. Now in Seattle, where the Cowboys get their first win with Mike McCarthy as their head coach. Dak, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. CeeDee Lamb, the rookie, 6 catches, 98 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Russell Wilson, a touchdown and an interception on the day. The Cowboys, 14 points in the fourth quarter, propelled them to a 21-17 win and their first on the season. Now to Denver, where they're still looking for their first win on the season. This loss comes by just 1 point. Tom Brady, a touchdown and an interception. Mike Evans gets 100 yards on the day. Colin Kaepernick with just a touchdown, no interceptions. Red zone offense was the killer for the Broncos, as they had to settle for 2 field goals, while the Bucs got 3 touchdowns in the red zone. Ultimately, that was the difference in the game and keeping the Denver Broncos from winning their first game of the season. Now to New Orleans, where the Packers get a 35-30 win on top of the Saints. Rodgers, 4 touchdowns. Aaron Jones, 98 yards and a touchdown of his own. Drew Brees had touchdown, as well as Jared Cook in kind of a revenge game against the Packers, 6 for 60 and 2 touchdowns, but not a single sack by either team in this offensive shootout. The Green Bay Packers come out on top 35-30. And the final game here in Week 3, Baltimore getting revenge on Kansas City, 23-20 with the win. Patrick Mahomes, 2 touchdowns, where Lamar Jackson had a touchdown of his own, but it's not enough. This game went to overtime. Kansas City got 3 on the first drive, but it wasn't enough, as Lamar Jackson marched the Ravens down the field, score a touchdown, end the game, and the Chiefs are now 0-3 after their Super Bowl win just a season ago. We'll look at some re-signings for the Jags now. D.D. Westbrook, he's been in the league for 3 years. He's just 26 years old. I like the contract there. We do offer it to him, but he does not accept, so we will keep working on that with D.D. Westbrook. Some other players on this team, and I don't think there's a lot we're going to sign, actually, re-sign. A guy like Chris Conley we may get rid of, but we'll talk about that a little later. Remember earlier, the Bengals get the win on top of the Eagles. The Bengals are 3-0. They are our Week 4 opponent, and it should be a good game. The Bengals, a surprise undefeated team here in the season. Joe Burrow's playing phenomenal. That offense is really good. Their defense is a little weak, and I think we could get into an offensive shootout with them, with our 2 offenses and our defenses, which aren't really our strong suits. Some injuries, no new injuries for the Jags, no big injuries for the Bengals. And we'll take a look now at our roster. We talked about Chris Conley a little bit. There's a couple guys that I'm thinking about maybe trading at the wide receiver position. D.D. Westbrook could be one. Chris Conley could be one. So here, we're going to put D.D. Westbrook on the trade block, and then also Chris Conley has already been on the trade block, and we do have an offer from the Washington football team. It's a 4 and a 6 for not this year but next year's draft. I don't pull the trigger on it just yet. We may get that trade eventually, but we're going to hold off on that. Now we'll take a look at the draft, and there's a lot of good players, and another reason why I'm okay with moving on from guys is the wide receiver class looks good, the linemen look good. This looks like a pretty good class all around. We thank you for watching today's episode of Across the NFL. Remember, we have changed our upload schedule to Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. So tomorrow, on Monday, we will have the Bengals Week 4 game uploaded to the channel. Thank you for watching, and we hope to see you around at the next Huddle Breakdown.